Hi guys, how are you?
Hi, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so anyone who wants to start their demonstration now? Because after
Yes,
that we
ma'am.
will start with the lecture. Okay, then start sharing your screen.
Ma'am, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, it is visible.
So should I start, ma'am?
Yes, you can start now.
So last week you have given us the assignment of constructor overloading and chaining. So I have make this class. In the starting, I have initialized these two things with the integer type model year and string type model name. And then there is a constructor with the parameters in it, int year and string name. This demo is like related to the car name, like car name and year also. So that I already told you, this is the constructor with initialized parameters in it. And the constructor overloading allows us to define like multiple constructor within a class, and we can also define a set of parameters in it. And there is also a constructor with the default value. Here we have put the year, but we didn't put the model name. And there is a default constructor with the null value. And here I put the main method. And for the print, we have put the system.out.println. And you can see the result here that it has put. And if I talk about the process of chaining, it is used to like if we have to call one constructor from another. So that's why we use chaining. And if I if I tell you about this, it help us to like it play the roles that which object is calling it. So that's why we use this keyword, this. And I have taken this code from my classmate. So this is all that I have done, ma'am.
Okay, Chujhar, so the this keyword is actually the call of a default constructor. So you are calling a constructor from inside another constructor. Actually, this
Okay,
is
ma'am.
what is chaining. Yes. Okay, so sometimes it happens that you have three parameters constructor, and in that three parameter constructor, you actually pass only one string. And for the other two string initialization, you call the previous constructor, which has two parameters. And then for two parameter constructor is calling another constructor which we have passed only one parameter, and that one parameter constructor is calling a constructor which has passed nothing. So
Okay,
in
ma'am.
this
So
way it's
like
a chain.
constructor
Yes.
overloading is like they have same name but different
Yes.
parameters.
Yes, different parameters. And since we have defined one constructor, one parameter constructor already, so the work of initializing that constructor will be done by that one parameter constructor, and rest of the work will be done by the other next constructor. So this is like that, that if there is something that we have already defined, we will just call it in our function, and rest of the work which was not defined, we will do that only in our function. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. So this is
Okay,
right.
it's just like, yeah, it's just like that you are cooking and someone has already some bread made for you. Okay.
Okay,
So
ma'am.
in cooking, you will just create the gravy. So instructions for gravy will be there, but the bread, you will call that function who has already made the bread inside your function. Okay. You will not do it
Okay.
again. So this
Okay,
is
ma'am.
why you are calling one function inside another function. And since these functions are constructors, so that's why it is called chain of constructors. Means you are reusing a constructor inside another constructor.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Like we are calling another constructor.
Yes, this is okay, Jujar. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am.
Good presentation. So anyone else who want to share their
Yes,
Ma'am,
ma'am.
I
Can
can.
you
demonstration?
share?
Yes, you can share.
Ma'am, one more thing.
Yes, Jujar.
Like, what about the attendance? Will you mark my attendance? I have to go for work.
I will mark your attendance, but be sure there is a quiz this week. So when you return, please attempt quiz one.
Okay,
Okay.
ma'am. Okay.
And one assignment will be posted. Assignment number one, I will open.
Okay,
So
ma'am.
start working on it. You will have 2 weeks to complete that assignment number one. And in the third week, we will open assignment number two. And in that week, we will have the demonstration of assignment number one. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
So please complete your readings whenever you are back and start working on that assignment number one. Okay.
Okay,
And
ma'am.
hybrid quizzes will be available, so please do that also, whatever hybrid quiz is available. Hybrid quiz is different, quiz one is different. So quiz one, you will, when you return, please complete it. It will be open till Monday, the quiz one.
Okay, ma'am.
Then
I
I
will
will
do, ma'am.
close it. Okay,
So
okay, I
should I
will mark
write
your
in the
attendance.
chat that I am present or
Yes,
it's
you can write there.
okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Hi, ma'am. Is it visual now?
Yes, it is visible. You can proceed.
Okay, ma'am. So firstly, I created a Java project of lab name 3, and after that I uploaded 3 files of Apple, Orange and Run demo, which was given in the announcement section. So here is a code in which uh, firstly here is a Apple file in which firstly there are three three types which we call. In first we have a string variety, and then another one is boolean, and third one is weight. In output and in orange one, if I show, here is an constructor public orange, and this one. And after that here after that in public orange string variety, in which there is a constructor, and in second one string or boolean, and in third one there are three string, boolean or double. In output if I show you after running, like just wait, in run demo, so here is the output. Like in first there is a string of one orange, and another one is boolean which is false, and in the last one there is a weightage of the orange, and this is all about the orange, and in last there are apples.
Yeah, similar constructor chaining is done for the two classes like
Yes,
Apple
ma'am.
and Orange.
Orange, yes, ma'am.
And do you see that they have also written that first only default constructor Apple without any um, arguments are called,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
then inside the same constructor, another constructor with a string, means the one member variable is initialized in the second constructor. So both constructors are called in the one
Yeah.
constructor
Yes, ma'am.
which was showing this value. So this is actually helpful.
Yes.
Okay, Gagan Preet Kaur,
Yes, ma'am.
your last three digits are 615.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I will mark it. And same instructions for you, that you will
Okay.
attempt quiz 1. Assignment 1 will be open, so understand it. You will have 2 weeks to complete it. And in the third week, we will have the demonstration of assignment 1, and assignment 2 will be opened after these 2 weeks. Okay,
Okay.
hybrid quizzes will also be available. So do that also
Okay, ma'am.
for, okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay,
Thank you.
I'll mark your attendance. You can go. Nipun, are you there?
Ma'am,
Nipun, Nipun actually wanted to demonstrate.
no, I
Are
don't
you
want
here?
to.
Yes, yes. What are you
Uh,
saying?
Sorry, ma'am. I just wanted to say that I'm attending my lecture from phone, and my laptop is at home, and I'm in the workplace. So, is there any way that I can give my demonstration in the next week? Because I have already made my assignments, and I also have created one Word file to give proper demonstration about chaining in constructor. So, but I won't be able to show. So, can I show it in next lecture?
But you can tell me, you can explain me the concept verbally, or if you can open your submission from mobile,
Uh,
from that file, you can
I
explain.
can.
And
I
in the
can.
next week, when you will be there, then you can do that.
Oh, okay. I can try to explain you verbally.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So after Nipun, I'll explain.
Okay, and Nipun, are you here? Nipun,
Can I demonstrate?
yes, you can demonstrate.
I'm Rishi here.
Okay, Rishi.
Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, it is visible. You can proceed.
So I have created a program inside the package com.company, and this was the program about the constructor, overloading constructor, and the chaining the constructor. The constructor is a special kind of method in the Java programming whose name is similar as the class we have created, and also it does not require any written statement as normally we create different kind of method. It depends upon that the constructor means another method requires a written uh, at the end or not, then the overloading constructor. So within the constructor we can create many different constructor, but each and every time we need to have different kind of arguments inside that, and we can have the same constructor using. And the chaining constructor is a example of we have already created two of the constructor, and if we want to call the another constructor in the same one, so we can do using the this function in the chaining function. Then I have used the attributes like the author and for the Java documentation. Then I have created a class called the math, in which I have created the variable called the string name, course, and college, then integer for the age and double for GPA. Then this is the constructor. This is a default constructor, as I have not given any value argument inside the brackets. And if user types the default constructor without giving any variable, it's going to print that I am the default constructor of the math class. Then I have created another constructor. This is called the overloading also, because in this from the now I have given a specific argument that the user need to type a string name inside that. And if a user puts the string or give the argument of the string inside the method or the constructor, it's going to print good morning and have a good day. And the another one is for the integer, and in this it's going to say the age. Then this is the another constructor in which I have used three of the arguments like the string, then the double, and another string. And this is going to print at the end. And these are the reference, these dot codes that I already created the codes and which are referencing this one. So if user types over here, this is going to give the reference code. And at the end, it's going to print I am studying and whichever the course, and it's going to print the college name according to user whichever types inside the argument. Then inside the main method, main class, this is the main method, and I have just given the argument to the following the last constructor, and if I run this, so it's going to print this one. So I'm studying the computer programming at the CDI college and I got 3.5 GPA. So these are the arguments that I have already given in the constructor. And if I talk about the chaining constructor, it can be used by the this function like constructor. Then I can use with this function.
Okay, Rishi, it's working fine, and I think your
Mhm,
concepts about chaining are clear. Okay, you can stop sharing
mhm.
your screen.
Thank you. Yeah.
Hello, ma'am. Hello, ma'am.
Yes, yes, Ritik.
Can I give my demonstration of first and second lab, ma'am?
First and second lab, last
Because
week
as
the
you
it
know,
was the demonstration.
yeah, ma'am, as you know, my Eclipse was not working, and now I downloaded another app for it. That's why.
Uh, now it is working. Your
No, ma'am, I downloaded the another app. Rishi helped me to work it.
okay. Okay, so quickly present it because this time we are concentrating on the last week, but be
Yeah, ma'am,
quick
I
with
know,
your
but
previous demonstration.
sorry for this interruption.
Okay.
Yeah. Is it visible, ma'am?
Okay, one more announcement. At 1:30, Miss Ilham will join the class for just some time. Okay. So during that time, please be attentive for the questions that I ask. So try to answer it. I will ask the questions about the basic concepts that we have covered in the previous classes. Okay. So it should not be like that, that I am asking a question and no one is answering. Okay. Okay, Ritik, you can continue.
Is it visible, ma'am?
Yes, your screen is visible.
Yeah, ma'am, this is my lab one. And as you know, I first uninstall all the apps. My Eclipse was not working, so I did my lab one in another laptop. This is the this is the Eclipse. I download the Eclipse Amazon Crato and the JDK file that was the available on the portal. Then to check these, is this working? I did um, I performed some commands like Java space uh, slash version, and then it was show me that the virtual machine is working. Then I go for a Java C slash version, so it gave me a version of my Eclipse Java Amazon Crato. Then I go for a command echo percentage space Java slash home percentage. That this give me a command that all of my files are working. And this is for the file one. And if I go for the file 2, it is my lab 2, and I added the screenshot. First I added the incorrect program, a screenshot of incorrect program. I made a 2D array in it. Array is like one is for the row and one is for the column. We can add. I added two row and two column in this program, and then I added some breakpoints in it, and then I debug to check where is the mistake, and after that I correct the program, and I get my output. And I did all of my work in my another laptop. But then after I also make a file in my this laptop to show you. This is the breakpoint, and we can by right clicking we can add a breakpoint anywhere. And if I incorrect my code like this, then I can debug it. It is in the process. Yeah. This is how we can see where is the mistake by uplining it by line. This is about the 2D arrays. Yeah.
Ritik, can where is the values of variables we can see? Is this window, you know how to open that window?
Variables
Means at
value.
each, yes, the value of variables, for example, when our task is breaking at the break point,
Yeah.
if we want to check in Eclipse, we have a window which is showing the variables and their values
Yeah.
at that point in code. So
Yes, ma'am.
here, do you know what is the name of this application,
Mm,
IDE that you are using?
yeah.
Is
It's
it
intel.
IntelliJ or what it
Yeah.
is?
Yeah. It's intelligent.
IntelliJ. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you know how to check the variable values in IntelliJ?
No, ma'am. I just download this app last day.
Okay. So
Yeah.
next
I.
time I will ask you that how we can check it. So
Yeah. Okay, ma'am.
please have a knowledge about it because
Yeah. Yeah, ma'am. Because
without
I
it we can't.
download this app
Okay.
yesterday. That's why I don't have much knowledge about this app, because I did all my work in the Eclipse on my another laptop, and my brother is in the
Okay.
college now, so that's why this is the some problem. Sorry for that.
Okay. Okay. It's fine. It's
Yeah,
fine. I will do that.
yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
So this is your lab one.
Yeah, lab
And
one.
have you done the lab two?
And ma'am, that's lab two.
Okay. Yes. Lab one
Yeah,
was the installation
yeah,
and lab two was.
yeah. That's about the
Okay.
array.
Fine.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. It was about that.
yeah.
Okay, Ritik. I'll mark it then.
Thank you, ma'am.
Fine. Okay, guys, let me mark the attendance now. Then we will start the lecture. So be attentive for your attendance. Yeah. Okay, Amandeep,
Present, ma'am.
Amanpreet Kaur,
Present, ma'am.
Amrit Kaur,
Present, ma'am.
Arjun, Arjun, Espinder Singh,
Present, ma'am.
Gagandeep Kaur,
Present, ma'am.
okay, Gaganpreet 1223,
Present, ma'am.
Gaganpreet Kaur, present. Harmanbir Singh,
Present, ma'am.
Harmandeep,
Present, ma'am.
Jashanpreet,
Present, ma'am.
Jaskaran, Jasmeet Kaur,
Present, ma'am.
Jaspreet Kaur.
Present, ma'am.
Okay, Jujhar is present. Kamalpreet Kaur, Kapil,
Present, ma'am.
Karanpreet Singh,
Present, ma'am.
Komalpreet Kaur,
Present, ma'am.
Maninder,
Present, ma'am.
Mannat,
Present, ma'am.
Mohammad Mehdi,
Present, ma'am.
Navjot, Nipun, Nishant,
Present, ma'am.
Olu, Olu, Pratap,
Present, madam.
Ramandeep,
Present, ma'am.
Rishi, present. Ritik,
Hello. Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, I'm here.
who is there?
It's Navjot. Ma'am, I am present.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so we were there. Uh, Sukhmanpreet,
Present.
Tanu,
Present, ma'am.
Tanveer,
Present, ma'am.
Samuel, Jasmindeep, and Parvati. Okay, guys. So last week we have covered week 4 contents. I told you that we will have our exam in week 14, so we will go 1 week ahead. We will try to do that. Okay. So please complete the work that was given. Only 3 students have demonstrated. So we will start with the lecture of today and then we will
Sorry, ma'am.
continue with the
I'm
demonstration
present,
after that.
ma'am. Miss,
Uh,
I'm present.
who is
Samuel.
this?
Samuel.
Okay. Okay, guys. So today we will understand the concept of inheritance. We started about it yesterday in the last conceptual class when we started object-oriented programming. So we discussed about inheritance and everyone quiz 1 will be available after I complete my lecture. So please attempt it. It has questions from all the concepts that we have covered previously like constructor chaining, composition we have seen last week, and the hybrid quiz will also be available. So please check out which hybrid quizzes are available. They will be related to the topics that were there in hybrids. For example, um, you have covered debugging. So debugging concepts will be asked in the quiz. And you have, I have given you one video link to help you with the hybrids that you have to complete about JUnit. So if you have those concepts clear and if you have done that hybrid, then that will also be checked in quiz. Okay. So hybrid quizzes, please check from your CSI, you have the information. I am also informing you that quiz 1 is available and assignment 1 will be opened. It will be released today and you will have 2 weeks to complete assignment number 1. That will be checking the concepts that we have covered till yet, including this inheritance and array list. Okay, array list we have also covered in the last uh, semester. In the last class, we have seen that how to create an array list, but it's easy. It's just like an array, but in the form of a list. We have add function available on that. We have remove functions available on that, so that we will see also today in a demo. So let's
Excuse me,
start.
ma'am.
Yes, so is there.
Ma'am, I think Jasmine and Arjun is also present. Their mic is not working.
Okay, first let me complete the lecture now, then I will change the attendance. Okay. So, inheritance is actually a process of programming, object-oriented programming, in which we can acquire the properties of another class because we inherit from that class. Like in normal world, we have parents have some properties, and then parents have their children, and children actually inherit some of the properties of their parents. So the same process is can be explained that if a class inherits the properties of other class, then this class is actually inheriting the properties of the subclass, or sorry, parent class. So parent class is also known as superclass, and the child class is also known as subclass. Okay. So all the properties of parents are inherited by the subclass, but the subclass can also have its own distinguished properties. Okay. Now, why this concept is here? Its purpose is to create objects that actually have all the properties of the parent class, but they can behave differently when they need to. Okay. For example, there is a scenario that if you are designing shapes, then you know shapes have some edges, some curves. Okay, these are the properties of shapes, and they have some size. So size, shape, and color, for example, they might be the properties of all the shapes. But they can have their own distinguished properties, like circles have only curves, they don't have any corners. Okay, rectangles have corners, but they don't have any curves. And triangles also are distinguished shapes, means that they have three sides uh, and they don't have any curves. Okay, so although circles, triangles, and rectangles, these are all shapes. So we can say that shape is the parent property because shapes have colors, shape have sizes. So circle also have color, circle also have size, but it has a specific uh, uh, curves in it. Okay, and rectangle also have color, and rectangle also have sides, but they don't have curves. Okay, so their size is there and their color is there. Now size and color is common in all kind of shapes, but when it is about the triangle, then they have only three sides. It's their particular behavior, although they are a part of or a family of shapes, but it is a shape of its own kind. So the classes that are derived from a superclass, they have some common features and some distinguished features. Okay. Now, why we have this concept? Because we want to avoid redundancy. So common features are designed in a parent class and only the specific features are designed in the subclass. Getting my point, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
So here is
ma'am.
an example that we can explain it further. In this picture, you can see that we have a parent class, which is vehicle. Because all the vehicles can move, all the vehicles start, all the vehicles stop, all the vehicle accelerate means gain speed, all the vehicles decelerate means they decrease their speed. Okay, they have their color, they have their sizes, so these are all kind of properties that all vehicles have common. Okay, so cars is a type of vehicle, motorcycle is another type of vehicle, and truck is another type of vehicle. Okay. So motorcycle, car and truck are subclasses of superclass vehicle. Okay. And when we are showing it in a diagram, then we draw a arrow from the subclass to the superclass. So here you can see that this arrow is coming towards the superclass and it is coming from all the subclasses. Okay. And the subclass itself can be a superclass for further subclasses. So here you can see that now further uh, car is now a superclass, and further it has two specific kind of cars like sedan and SUVs. Okay. So a sedan has specific features, although sedan is also a car, but it has its own specific features. And SUV is also a car, but it has its own specific features. Okay. But what is common in cars? All have four wheels, all have a windshield, all have uh, to they have a start button. For example, some cars have a keyhole to start it, and some have a button to start. So that feature will be specific to each different kind of car. Okay, but the common features mean four wheels and a steering, a gear, that will be common in all. Okay. So in this way, we can create the hierarchy of vehicle classes. And the behavior that is common to all vehicle is the ability to transport people from one place to another, has wheels, engine, transmission, cargo capacity. The other behaviors that are common is acceleration, deceleration, stopping, moving. These are all the behaviors. And features, the member variables will be number of wheels and a steering. These are all the features. So we can see the functions as which are common as well as the features which are common. Okay. But some cars will have convertible cars, for example, their roof can be removed whenever we need it. So specific features, for that we actually inherit a new class. We create a subclass which inherits the common feature and then define its own features. So it's a simple hierarchy which is defining that a car is a vehicle. So vehicle is the superclass, car is the subclass. That's why we are drawing an arrow from the subclass towards the superclass. Now there are different types of inheritance possible based on what is the property. For example, one class can have only one subclass, And this is called single inheritance, that class B is inheriting the properties from class A, and there is no other class which is inheriting from class A. So this is called single inheritance. Okay. The syntax for doing this is defined here in the right side, right column. So if class A is the parent class, then you will write the same syntax that we used to define a class, that is public class A. When this class ends, you will define class B with the extends keyword. Whenever you are defining a class, here we are defining public class B, extends A. This extends means that B is inheriting common features from a superclass A. Okay. So if you have, for example, a class Apple, so here you will define public class Apple. And then if you are defining a class golden apple extends apple, it means that golden apple is now a specific class or a subclass which is extending the parent class apple. Okay. So this is how you define a simple uh, subclass using single inheritance. Then we have another feature of inheritance, that is multi-level inheritance. As we have seen in this slide, that vehicle has a subclass car, and car has two subclasses, sedan and SUV. So this is three levels. That vehicle is the top level, then car is inherited from vehicle, and then sedan is inherited from car. So this is different level or multi-level inheritance. When we have a superclass, then we have a subclass, and then subclass is behaving as a superclass for another subclass. So this is different level of inheritance, and it is called multi-level inheritance, where class C extends class B and class B extends class A. Now, how to define this? We have the same definition for public class A and public class B extends A. And the same thing you can define for class C when class C is extending class B. Okay, so class C will be a child class of B class, which itself is a child class of class A. Okay. Another, sorry. The hierarchical inheritance is when one parent class have multiple subclasses, like B is extending from A and C is extending from A. This was the same case in that slide where uh, class A was, if we say that class A is a vehicle class, then car was also a child of vehicle class and truck is also a child of vehicle class. So this is called hierarchical inheritance, when a same parent class is actually inherited by two different classes. Okay. So you will see how to define that. That's easy because class B extends A and class C also extends A. Okay. Then we have multiple inheritance. Now this is a different concept. It relates to the normal world where a child actually gets its properties from two parents, means mother and father. So this concept is actually the same, that class C is actually inheriting both class A and class B. Actually, this feature is not supported by Java directly, okay? But when we will study about interfaces, then you will see that we can actually simulate this kind of behavior, okay? So Java actually directly doesn't support this multiple inheritance, but you can achieve that kind of simulation using interfaces. So when we will cover the topic of interfaces, then we will discuss about it. Now, as we have already seen in the previous slide, that how to define an inherited class or a base class. So first you must have a superclass. So you will define some superclass. Its features will go here. Uh, its behavior means its functions will go here, and then it will be ended by ending this uh, bracket, curly brace. After this is closed, you will start the next class, which is the subclass of this superclass. So you will write the class keyword, then you will write the name of the subclass and extends keyword and the parent class. And then the code of the specific code of the subclass will go here. All the functions that are in the superclass, you can use it in the subclass. Okay. So what is the benefit that this inheritance feature lets you reuse code instead of duplicating it? Means if you have written a display function for the parents class, you can use the name of that function to use the same kind of functionality with the derived class. Okay. So you don't need to write the code again. So reusability, which is actually the gist of object-oriented programming, we can achieve it here. Okay. So what kind of reuse is possible? First, a subclass inherits the methods of the superclass because a car is a special kind of vehicle. We can use a car object in algorithms that manipulate vehicle objects. Okay. So the substitution principle here is that you can always use a subclass object when a superclass object is expected. Means if you have a subclass object, then you can use it. Uh, for example, we say that car is moving, or we can say vehicle is moving. So vehicle, actually a car was going, but we can say that vehicle was moving. Okay. Or we can say car is moving. So a method that processes vehicle objects can handle any kind of vehicle. Means if uh, moving is the function that uses vehicles. So if a car is moving, then you can use the move function with that. If a truck is moving, you can use the move function with that. Understanding my point? That wherever vehicle was needed, you can use a subclass also. Now, in our today's demonstration, we will use two uh, different examples. First, I will give you the vehicle kind of examples where we will have a superclass bike, and then we will derive a motorbike from the same bike class, and we will see how to use that. The second example is about question, that we will define a question class, and you know that in a quiz there might be different kind of question. So questions are there in an exam, but questions type could be different. So for different kind of questions, you can have, for example, fill in the blank questions, multiple choice questions, numeric questions, or free response questions. And in choice questions also, you can have multiple choice questions. So this is a type of inheritance hierarchy of question types, and that we will see today in the example where I will demonstrate to you. So this example will cover midterm quiz. So what is the behavior of the question class? The question class is actually defined that it has a text, and then it can check whether a given response is a correct answer or not. So it has some methods defined for doing that. To display the text, it has a display function, and to check the response that we input from the user, whether it matches or not matches. So if it matches, the answer will be true. If it doesn't match, the answer will be false. So that check response function is also there. It is actually the code that, let me open it in Eclipse. First, let's complete that bike example. Can you see my screen, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, madam.
So I have created a one simple code where we are defining a class bike. And in class bike, we have two fields. One is gear and the other is speed. You can have multiple gears in a bike, and the bike can have some speed with which it is moving. Okay. There is a constructor that is defined to initialize the values of these fields, gear and speed. So this public bike is the constructor, which is taking two parameters, gear and speed, and using the this keyword, the object which is calling, which will be initiated, it will get its initial value, which is passed to it in parameterized constructor. Okay. Two functions are there defined, apply brake in this bike class. So in the apply brake, actually the decrement value is given from the function which is calling it. So an integer value decrement is passed to this apply brake function, and whatever is the speed of this bike, this decrement value is subtracted from the speed, and then the new speed is assigned to the speed variable. So this is only one liner apply brake function. Same way we have a speed up function, and in the calling function we give an increment variable which actually increments the value, which integer value that we have passed in this function. So this increment integer is added to the previous speed uh, variable, and then the new value, resultant value, is assigned to the speed variable. Okay. So this is also a one-liner function. One method to string we have seen last time, that for reporting purpose we defined the toString function. It is whenever we want to display what is the contents or the field values of bike. So the toString function will be used with the object of bike type. It will return number of gears string with the value of gear and speed of bike with the value of speed, whatever it is at that time. So this is a parent class or a super class bike. So it has two functions, one constructor and a third function is the reporting function, which is showing the value of gear and bike. Now here in this line 42, there is a mountain bike subclass of bike class defined using the method, using the keyword extends. So we have written class mountain bike extends bike. So it is showing that this class, which is extending bike, it is a subclass of bike superclass. Okay. Now the subclasses actually inherit the functions. So we can use the functions of the bike class, and they can have their own fields. Okay. So one new field, seat height, is defined for the mountains bike, which is of integer type. And then we have a constructor for mountain bike, which initializes the gear, speed, and start height. Okay. Now, one thing you can see that the gear and speed fields are actually the fields of bike class. Okay. And we know that when we are hiding the data and we are encapsulating the data, so the encapsulation feature is actually defined like that, that whenever you want to change the value of gear or value of speed, you have to do it using apply break or speed up functions. Okay. So in the constructor, what you will do in the mountain bike constructor, you will actually pass the values for gear, speed, and start height. So whenever this object of mountain bike will be created, three values will be passed to initialize its fields. So seat height is actually local to the mountain bike, but this gear and speed cannot be directly initialized by mountain bikes. So what we will do, we will only use the seat height is equal to start height to actually initialize this local variable seat height. But for initializing the gear and speed, we are calling the super function. Super function actually calls the constructor of the parent class with the values that are needed in the constructor of the superclass. So superclass in this case is bike, and you know that we have written a constructor bike which receives two parameters. Okay. So when you will call this super gear speed, this function will actually call the function of the superclass, that is bike, which is the constructor, and it will initialize the gear value for this mountain bike. Okay. So this is how you are actually, this is a constructor chaining kind of thing. Okay, we have covered it last time, that what is constructor chaining, and three of the students have also explained it. Two of the students actually have given the demonstration for that. So this is the same concept, that you are calling the constructor of your parent class inside the constructor of this subclass. Okay. So first we are calling the constructor so that gear and speed is initialized for that mountain bike. And then the start height, that is actually a field of mountain bike itself, a specific feature of only mountain bikes, which is not a feature of all the bikes. So we will start initialize it here in the mountain bike constructor. Okay, so this we have done, and this is a chaining of constructor on line 52. Up to this point, everything is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now you see that we can, if we want to speed up or apply brake, we can use the same methods of the parent class, that is apply brake and speed up using the mountain bike objects. But if we want to change the height of the seat for mountain bikes, then we will define a new specific function for for setting that value. So this mountain bike subclass has its own function, set height, which is taking a new value to change the default value which we have set in the constructor. So whatever new value will be given, the seat height will be assigned that value in that set height function. So this is the setter function of height for this mountain bike. Okay. Then the reporting function toString. Now the toString function, although it was available in the parent, which was showing the gear and speed values for all the bikes. But since we want to do the same thing for mountain bikes also, if we call this function toString with mountain bike, it will only show the values of gear and speed. But since mountain bike has its own feature seat height also, which also should be reported when we call that toString function. So for that case, what we do, we override the toString function of the parent and we write another function. Now this function will also have a chaining performed. So what we will do inside, we will write at the rate override, okay, which is showing that this function toString, which is the same name function that we have already defined in bike, it is overridden by this toString function when it is called with an object of mountain bike. So this function will be used instead of parent function. Okay. And inside this function's body, what we are doing, first, we are calling the super.toString function. Now, super, you know that super means that we are calling a function which is a part of, which is a member of, or which is a behavior of parent class. So first, it will call the toString function of parent class, which will display the gear value and the speed value. After this function's output, we will add a string seat height and then we will return the seat height. Okay, so this parent function will display the value of gear and speed for this mountain bike, and then this will be combined with this value of seat height and that will be returned. Means that complete string which is showing the gear value, the height value, and the speed value will be returned. Okay. So this is all the functions that we have written. Now we need a test uh, class to test these values where we will define a mountain bike object to use these functions. So here is a test.java class where I have not created a lot of things. I have just created one object of the mountain bike type. So mountain bike is an inherited class, which is a subclass of a bike class. So we have just write mountain bike, which is the name of that class. And MB is the object we are creating. And after new, you see we are calling the constructor of mountain bike with three values, that is gear, speed, and set height. So whenever this will be called, the constructor of mountain bike will be called, and inside the mountain bike constructor, the superclass constructor will be called, so that this 3 and 100, which is the gear and speed value, which is this should be initialized by the superclass constructor, and this 25 will be set using the setting assignment line. And then on the next line, I have just used the reporting function, that is toString. So system.out.println mb.toString is called. So that toString is actually calling the override function toString that we defined in the mountain bike class, which will first call the superclass toString function and then combine the output of that parent's toString function with its own toString values to add the value of set height in the result. So when we run this code, here you see that the number of gears, speed of bike, and seat height is displayed. Now, if you define the bike class object, ek, for example, equal to new bike, its constructor, you will pass 4 and 90. For example, I'm passing for speed, and you call system dot out dot print ln, and here I will call bk dot to string. If you double click on it, this will be added. And that's it. Control S and run it again. So here you see that this information is from the object MB, which is a mountain bike. So mountain bikes information is displayed using toString. So it has 3 lines. But when we have created a bike object BK and we call its toString function, it is only showing the gears and speed of the bike. Okay, so this is what was required, and this explains that how uh, the toString functions behave differently, because the previous toString function was the function that mountain bike object has called, and it override the toString function of the parent class. But the second toString function on line number 12, it is the function that is defined in the bike class. This is clear, everyone? Okay, I will add this
Yes,
code.
ma'am.
Okay, I am adding this code to your announcement area. So please run this and show me the output. Okay, bike.java and test.java, both code I am adding. Uh, and I'm giving you 5 minutes to run that code and show me the output, whether you are getting the same or not. I may also share it in the chat, but let me uh, pass it on to you in the announcement. That will be far better. Everyone will get it. Okay, I'm just adding a line, and after that line, I am just pasting the code for the other bike and mountain bike class. Okay, I'm not sharing the separate files. You can do it on your own. Mm, so this is test.java and now bike.java. So in the same area, I have posted the 2 codes. Okay, so when you open this, you will see the code for test, that is package inheritance practice. I have inheritance practice project which I created, and inside it I have created the driver class. So before that line separator, we have the code for the test class, that is the runner or demo class, and below it you will find the bike class code, which we are calling bike class and mountain class. Okay, so I'm giving you 10 minutes to run that code, then we will further continue the next concepts. Any question if you want to ask about it? Okay, if you have no question, then please copy this code in your Eclipse, run it and show me your output by sharing your screen one by one.
Hi, Miram.
For 1 minute, I'm stopping sharing. Okay. For 5 minutes, I'm stopping sharing so that you can do it and then you will be able to share your screen.
I have run it successfully.
I'm also.
Okay.
Can I share my screen?
Yes, you can.
Ma'am, here it is.
Good.
Done, ma'am. Hi, madam.
Yes, Pratap.
I could run the code successfully, and I have one question.
Yes,
L-
please go
like,
on.
can we create? Can we create the superclass and subclass separately, not in a single
Yes,
class?
you will create it separately, not when one class ends, then you can create it, or you want to say that we should separate files should have these classes. That's what you want to say.
Yeah, I mean, uh, can we have separate files for different classes, different subclasses?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely you can have.
Then we can have a main class to run,
Yes.
right? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
If they are in the same package, then there will be nothing, um, no issue. If they are in separate packages, then you have to import the package first, which has the super class. Then you can create a subclass. Okay.
Oh, okay, madam.
If they are packaged in the same package, then you do not need to import it. But if they are in the separate packages, then you must import the package which has with the parent class, then you can inherit it
Okay,
in the
okay, madam.
subclass.
Same like we are importing scanner class, right?
Yes, yes,
Oh,
like we are doing that.
okay, madam. Thank you.
Be quick, everyone.
Done, ma'am.
Okay, Spender is done. What about others? Pratap. Pratap has also done. Amandeep had done. Okay, guys, I'm continuing the lecture. So I'm sharing my screen. Okay, so this is another program, question.java, where we are defining the question class, which is the parent class. And in the previous slide, we have seen that it has four derived classes: fill-in question, choice question, numeric question, and free response question. And choice question has further another derived class, which is multi-choice question. Okay, so we will see what is in there. So in the question class, we have a question text and the answer. And the constructor will actually, default constructor will set text and answer as empty strings. Then we will have a set text function and a set answer function. So whenever someone is actually using this code, he will, if he want to set the text of the question, he will call this function set text with a string. So question string will be passed, which will be now made the uh, question text for text field. And then in the same way, you will actually have a set answer function, which will set the answer of this question. Then correct response is actually parameter. These are for documentation. You know that these will explain what it is doing. So question class, very basic, does not handle multiple choice, numeric or free response question. They only can take text and then set the answer. Set the question, set the answer. That question class can do. Okay. No choices it can take. It can just set the text and the answer. Other things, if you want to do, then you have to make a child class which will have its own behavior. Now this is the test program. The class we have already seen. So to call this question, we have question demo 1.java, in which we have created a scanner object to take input from the user. We have created a question object, question queue, um, which is of question class object. And here we have called the default constructor. So it defines initially text and answer as an empty string. Then you call the q dot set text to set a question, and then q dot set answer to set the answer for that question. Okay. After that, q dot display actually displays. Actually, it is cut here, but I have it in Eclipse. So let's see. So question.java. Yes. So set question and set text and set answer is actually easy. That you are setting the question text and setting the correct response in the answer field. And then you have a check answer, which returns true if the response that is given by the user, it is checked with the correct answer. Now, correct answer value we have already set using the set answer function. Now, the user is asked to enter a response. That response is then passed to the check answer function, and that check answer function compares this response with the answer, actual answer. Dot equals function, we have seen that it is used with strings. So response dot equals answer will check whether these two objects have the same data in it or not. So if the same data is found, then a true is returned. If the same data is not found, a false is returned. So you can see the return value is Boolean. So Boolean can have either true or false value returned. Okay, so this is also a one-liner function, which is just comparing the two string true and false. Then public void display system.out.println system.out.print line text is to display the question text. Okay. Uh, so here we were on the. So this was the demo function where it actually first displayed the question, then it set the answer, then it displayed what was the question to the user, and it asked the user that enter a response, your answer. So string response is actually a string value, local variable that we defined in main, and it is taking input from the user. In dot next line is actually taking input from user, and then we will call that q dot check answer function with that response value that user has input. So whenever if the value matches, a true will be printed out in print line function. If the answer is false, then a false will be printed out. So this when we run the program, the question is displayed, then answer is taken from the user, and then if they match, true value is displayed. Now, when to define a single class and when to define a new class as a base class. So some tips are there that if you have only a variation in values, then you will use the single class and then you will just define different objects for the same class, and here you can change the values. But if the behavior is different, then we will need a specific class for that particular behavior. So in that case, we will use inheritance for variation in behavior. For example, cars could be of different types. There are legacy cars which have tires and wheels, gears, and other things. But a hybrid car is something different because hybrid car can have two types of fuels available. It means it works on electricity as well as on petrol. So fuel efficiency of a hybrid car, it might not be different from other cars. Not necessarily different, just more efficient and can be tracked by miles per gallon like other cars. So a single class could be updated to capture details. Means just two different objects could be there. But if you want to define a repair function for the cars, then hybrid cars repair is very different from other kind of cars. So you will need a separate repair function specifically for a hybrid cars. It means that then you will define an inherited class that is a base class which will have that individual repair function which is different for hybrid cars and different for other cars. Okay. Okay, now there are some questions. For example, consider manager and employee. These are two classes. Which should be the superclass and which should be the subclass? Who will tell me?
Hi, Imran. I will try.
Okay.
Employee will be the superclass, then manager will be subclass.
Um, so can you explain this? Your answer is true.
Yeah, for example, there are in an office or a organization, there will be number of employees like manager, engineer, developer, professor, and all. Then, and the employee will have certain characteristics that
Yes,
make
very good. Like employee will work, employee will get paid. Okay.
hours and
All these are for all the employees. These properties are for all the employees.
Same.
Okay, they have their working hours. So these are for everyone. But for manager, there will be certain responsibilities, and for professor, there will be certain other responsibilities. Okay, very good. Well explained, brother. Okay, so another question. What are the inheritance relationships between classes bank account, checking account, tax-free account, and savings account? It can be right. There is no right and wrong, just a hierarchy you can check. So what
Account.
will be the base class?
Uh,
Super class means
Bank
all
account.
kinds of accounts are actually bank accounts. So bank account is the super class. Then we can have checking account, tax-free account, and saving accounts. These are all
All
different
other
kinds
are
of accounts.
subclasses.
Yes, these are all subclasses. Okay. Okay, so should a class quiz inherit from the class question?
Mm, I think no, madam.
No, ma'am.
Why?
Mm, There will be a list of questions, and that can be a parent class. Then from that question, we can create quiz.
Okay, let's say that the answers of this question, yes, it should not inherit because quiz is not a question, it has multiple questions. So not a single question it has. So it has a number of questions. And the other answers were correct. There is one question that if we have a method, do something, which is past a car type object, car C. So all the vehicles, list all vehicle classes from the figure below whose objects cannot be passed to this method. Means do something receives only an object of type car. In this figure, what objects are of type car?
Cars, sedan, XUV.
Very good. So this do something or a function can be, we can pass an object of type car, we can pass it an object of type sedan, and we can also pass it an object of types SUV. But we cannot send it a motorcycle object or a truck object or a vehicle object because they are not of car type. Okay. So car and its subclasses objects can be passed, but its superclasses or its siblings, which are on the same level, they cannot be passed to this do something. Okay. Car and its uh, subclasses can be passed. Okay, so please, these are all conceptual questions that you can have in your quizzes and your exams. So please revise these also. Now, implementing subclasses, we have seen in that previous bike example. Here, a choice question can be defined for as a subclass of question superclass. So programmer makes a subclass by modifying another class. To get a choice question class, implement it as a subclass of question. So in Java, how we do that? Um, In Java, subclass objects automatically have the instance variables that are declared in the superclass, but you only declare instance variables that are not already part of the superclass. Subclass inherits all methods that it does not override. Means all the other methods, subclass will just can access that method using the dot notation. Means in that example of a where we have defined that bike class, here you see that we can call the apply break function if we want. For example, here we have actually used the system.string. If we want to use mb dot apply break, then we can call it with the value of, for example, 1. So we are saying it to change the speed and apply break with 1 value. And here, for example, there is a dot notation that we have used, and this apply break function was not defined in the mountain bike, but it was actually called by MB because all the functions of parent class are automatically inherited by the subclass. So if you run this again, here you see previously the values were 325 that we passed to it. But when MB apply break with 1 value, 1 was subtracted from 100 and the speed is now 99. So it is shown here. Okay, so that apply break function we didn't define in mountain bike. It is a function of the bike class, which is called. But the function for set height we cannot use in bike because set height function receives only a type of mountain bike. Okay, so seat height function actually receives a value which will update the seat height, and seat height was not defined in the bike class. Okay, so that's what we are trying to explain here, that you only declare instance variables that are not already part of the superclass objects, and it inherits all method that it does not override. And if you want to overwrite, we have seen it that in toString we have overwritten these. Okay. So subclass inherits all public methods from the superclass. You declare any method that are new to the subclass. Means the new or specific methods to the subclass are defined here. Other methods you don't define. If you want to override a method which is in the parent class, then you will define it only. So you change the implementation of inherited method if the inherited behavior is not required. When you provide a new implementation for an inherited method, you actually override the method. So we have done it for toString. And in this example, choice question object is differing from question object in 3 ways, because in choice question, the object stored the various choices for answers. There is a method for adding answer choices. So we will need that method here. The display method of choice question shows these choices so that the respondent can choose one of them. So these things, these 3 things are different in choice questions that it doesn't inherit from the question object. So choice question class needs to spell out 3 differences. That is, this instance variable is added to the subclass. Private array list we are using so that an array of choices we can create. This method is added to the subclass add choice. So we will take the choice and we will set which choice is correct. And this method overrides the method from the superclass. That means when you will display, you will call the display function, although we have a display function in the question class, which is the parent class, but choice question has its own display needed. So it will override. Now, if you write the UML, so you write the UML of choice question and question like that. Title is for parent class question, for subclass is choice question. The fields text and answer are written in question. You don't need to write it in the UML of the choice question. Just the specific new field that you have defined there that you will add. The behavior or the functions of question class are shown here, and these will not be shown because it is already understood that they are inherited by choice question. Only that question add choice function which is specific to choice question will be added to the UML, and whatever you have overridden. Since your display function of choice question is overriding the display function of question, so you will add it to the UML. This is just how to do that different parts which we have already done. So for implementing subclasses, we need a choice question object which have a text for the question. When you want to display the choice question, you must display question text, and then text and answer are actually there in the question, but choices is specific to the choice question. So you will use the set answer function to set the answer. But the private instance variables of superclass are inaccessible, so choice question methods cannot directly access the instance variable because they are private. So I told you that the public interface of the parent class is used to access the private data by even the subclass. Subclass will use the functions of the question class to access the private data, that is text and answer. So here is how you do that. Public void add choice, string choice, boolean correct, and here you are using choices dot add choice. If correct, convert choices dot size to string. So string choice string is equal to uh, first, since it was nothing, so you are setting it as empty string. Whenever you add something to it, its size will change. And then once choice string is defined, you will set the answer with the choice string if it is correct. Add choice method cannot just access the answer variable in the superclass, so you have to call the set answer method. That's why the set answer method is called. You can use set answer directly, or you can use this dot set answer choice string. Both will do the same. It will invoke the set answer with the parameter that you are sending, and it will call the function of the parent class to set this choice string. Now there is a question from my side to you. Let's say we are defining a class employee which has a name, a salary, two values. We are setting the name and we are setting the base salary. Then we have a new salary, get name, and get salary function. Sorry, set base salary is actually a function. So we have set name, set base salary, get name, and get salary. 4 functions are defined. Now, if we declare a class manager that inherits from class employee and adds an instance variable bonus for storing a salary bonus, how you will do that? So it's a practice that you can do. Now, which instance variables does the manager class have when if you define the manager class, which is also an employee? So it will have the name function and it will have the base salary function, but it will have its own bonus local function, local field. Suppose Q is an object of class question and CQ an object of class choice question. Which of the following calls are legal? Q dot set answer response. Is it legal or illegal? It is legal because it is set answer function is parent function and Q is a parent object. CQ dot set answer response.
Mm,
Is it legal or illegal? Is that statement true? Number 2 or not?
No.
Yes, it is.
How, ma'am?
Because there will be only one correct answer, no?
Hi, madam. I have a question. Uh,
Yes.
Class question and class choice question. Which is parent and which one is subclass?
Question is the parent class and
Mhm.
choice question is the subclass.
So that means first one will be correct, right?
First one will be correct and second one will also be correct. Because choice question can call the set answer function with the response. You can set the correct answer using set answer function. Because in all the choice questions, only one answer is correct mostly. Okay, so you can set that answer, or if even if 2 answers are correct, then you can set those answers. Okay.
Oh, okay, ma'am.
So it can call it. Second is also true. Add choice. Q dot add choice. Is it applicable or not? It is not applicable. Third one is not applicable because Q is the object of question class, which is the parent class. And add choice is not defined for that parent class. Okay. So parent class cannot call that function that it doesn't have. It is a function of the child class. So child class is a choice question class. So object Q cannot call that add choice. The fourth one is correct because choice question CQ object can call the add choice. If you are calling it 4 times, then you are setting different choices as true or false. Only one will be true, others will be false. So here is an answer that manager extends employee and you define a bonus. And answer is name, base salary and bonus. Manager can access that. And 1, 2 and 4 are correct. Third, as I told you, is incorrect. Then this is some practice that you will do by yourself. Okay. So which methods does the manager class inherit? So manager can get name, manager can set name, manager can set base salary. There is a common error that when you replicate instance variables from superclass, so this might create an error. That superclass also has a field called name and subclass also has a field called name. A subclass has no access to the private instance variable of the superclass like text is equal to question text. Directly you cannot access it. So beginner's error solve this problem by adding another instance variable with the same name. The person who is new to object-oriented programming, what he will do? He will create a text with the same spelling and the same name in the child class, which is not true. You just call the function which is setting the text using uh, that like we have done it, that call the function using function chaining, call it from the parent class to access the private member. Okay. So this is wrong. So the right way is the choice question constructor should call the set text method of the question class. It cannot directly set text, but it will indirectly use the set text method of question class to set the value of text. Overriding methods, we have done that when not satisfied with the behavior of the inherited method, you can overwrite it. And an overriding method can extend or replace the functionality of the superclass method. Extend, you can call the method parent class method inside this method, and then you can do something more to it in the next lines. So it will extend. Or you can completely replace the functionality of the superclass where you will not call the method of the parent class, but you will write your own code for the new function. So display method, as I told you that questions display method, question class display method is overridden in this choice question display method because here we need to display 4 choices also. One question we will display and 4 choices we will display. In question, simple question class, we only display the question, not the 4 choices. Now there is a problem that choice question is a child class and its display method cannot access the text variable of the superclass directly because it's private. So what is the solution? It can call the display method of the superclass by using the reserved word super, as I have shown you in the case of that bike. So super.display will be called and then further you can use your own code next on the next line. So super is a reserved word that forces execution of the superclass method. So here we are overriding the display function of the superclass in the subclass choice question, but inside it we are extending it. Means we are calling the super.display function of the superclass and then we are writing the other code. So here is question demo2.java. Question we have already seen, demo1 we have seen, this is demo2, in which you are actually creating a choice question. First, let me show you the code for that. What was the code for choice? Yes, there it is, choice question.java. Now, in this choice question.java, we have now, Pratap, it also answers your question that we are using a separate file for choice question.java where question.java is in another file. They are defined as separate classes. But since they are in the same package, we are not importing it. Okay. So in the same package, you don't need to import it, just you can directly use that. But if they are in separate package, then you need to import the parent class.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so public class choice question extends question and it has its own array list of choices, which is defined as a private array list inside choice question. And it has a constructor which creates a new object array list and name it as choices. Then it has a function add choice, which we have previously discussed in the slide. So it takes the choices, and if for correct choice is actually uh, do this coding from line 28 to 30. Then we have a void display function in that choice question class. So this void display will extend the display method by calling it using super.display, and then for displaying the four choices, it will call a for loop for int I is equal to 0, I less than choices dot size, and I plus plus. And for each choice, it will display the choice number and what is the choice. Then we have the display function, which is displaying. First, it is calling to display the text, and after that, it is calling the for loop to display the choices. So this is the choice question implementation. Now, just you understand that and then do it. Question. I'm not doing it because I have explained it. Just try to understand it by yourself now and run it. Okay, so how to call it super method that we have already covered. Since all members are inherited by subclass, field methods, and nested classes, but constructors are not members, so they are not inherited. To call them, you need the super keyword. So super keyword can be used to call that constructor of the parent. I'm quickly covering it. You can, if a member variable is public, then in the subclass you can use super dot variable. If you are calling a method, so methods are always public. Mostly they are public, so you can use super dot method to call the parents method inside the string. Now, there is a problem in this display method implementation. Here you see that in the display method, you are directly printing the text. And this display method is an override implementation inside the choice question. So you cannot directly access the text member because it is not allowed. So if you want to write system.out.print line with the value of text, you will write inside print line method, you will write get text, which is a function of the super.getText, which is a method of the super class. Okay. And here, what is the problem? That we are using this dot display inside the display function in the choice class. So the type of this reference is choice question. Therefore, the display method of the choice question is selected and the method calls itself. Where we wanted to call the display method of parent. So it should be super dot display, not this dot display. Okay, now these are just some concepts that you will cover. Here we have, for example, if we want in the manager class, we want to override the get name method so that managers have a asterisk before their name. So we have to override the get name function. So you know how to override at the rate override public string get name, and then you will return asterisk plus super dot get name. Means just an asterisk will be added to the result of the parents get name function, and then it will be returned by the get name function of the manager class. So this is simple. And here you can do the same for salary. Now, overloading and overriding is different. Overloading is when two methods have the same name but different parameter types. And overriding is when a subclass method provides an implementation of a superclass method whose parameter variables have the same types. So when overriding a method, the types of parameter variables must match exactly. In overloading, we have already done this previously, but overriding we have done today with the subclass methods of display and of toString. Another common error is when we forgot to use super when we want to invoke a superclass method. We directly write the name of that method, so that is wrong. This is an error because super should be used. So we are actually writing a get salary method for manager, which is overriding the get salary method for employee. So here you are writing double base salary is equal to get salary. Now this get salary will be this get salary, not the parent's get salary. So it should be added with super dot get salary. Okay. So this we have done. Now, another important thing to remember is that every class defined without an explicit extends class automatically extend the class object. Means whenever you define a class, so a class is actually extending the class object. Object is a class, that is the first class we created. And now all the classes that we create, they automatically are extending the object class. So object class is the parent of all the classes that we define in Java. Although we are not using the extend keyword, but still every class is automatically extending class object. So class object is the parent of all classes. So some methods defined in object are toString equals hash code, and you have overridden toString in this example that we have done today. So this was a method that was there in object class, but when you use it, you override that toString method in your own class. And then equals also is there, hash code is there. So object is the superclass for every class, and then it have string, question, rectangle, scanner, all the classes and many more classes that you have created. They are all extending object class. Okay, this I'm not doing, just read it because we have done the toString extension and overriding in our one example. Rest of it you can check with by reading. Now equals method checks whether two objects have the same content. So if stamp1 dot equals stamp2, so equals method is written like that, that it compares one object with the other object, that whether their contents are the same or not. And double equal to operator test whether two references are identical. Means two pointers are pointing to the same thing. Then we use is equal to operator. Otherwise, if we are checking whether two contents are the same, then we use the dot equals method. That is a concept from previous class. You can override the equals method for your own objects, for your own classes by writing your own implementation. Okay. So for example, if you have defined one object stamp1 and its value is color is cyan, value is 90, and you have defined another object stamp2 which has color cyan and value 90, and then you actually checks equals stamp1 equals 2. So both are referencing to the same stamp class, and both are the references of the same object. That we have seen also when these two strings are defined, they are actually referring to the same string. Tuna fish, for which we have seen it last time. So you can revise from there. So you can write actually equals method for your own classes. If you want any kind of objects that you are designing, you can write an overridden equals method for that. For example, here they are defining the color and value and then public boolean equals. Here you can write your own implementation. So stamp other is equal to stamp other object. Here if you want to assign something to an object type, then you have to actually cast it with the object type. Otherwise, compiler will not understand whether this thing on the right side of is equal, it is an object or it is a variable or what it is. So you have to define it by casting that this thing on the right side is an object of stamp type, and we are assigning its pointer or reference to another object which is whose name is other, and O is also a stamp type object. So both will be then pointing to the same memory for an object. So after casting, you can compare two stamps, like stamp other is equal to stamp other object. Now other object is then object of stamp type that is passed. And then you have casted it, and then you return color dot equals other color, and then value is equal to other dot value. So then it will return true or false based on what you have defined. Another feature of subclass and superclass is that it is legal to store a subclass reference in a superclass variable. Means you have a superclass object and you want to refer to it a specific kind of subclass object. So here you see choice question CQ is equal to new choice question. It is a base, a subclass object you are defining with the name CQ. Now question Q is equal to CQ, means a question Q is a type of CQ. So it is fine. You can, it can point to it. Object obj is equal to CQ. It is also fine because object is also a parent class of question class. So object can also refer to its one of its base class objects. So it is also fine. Sometimes you need to convert from a superclass reference to a subclass reference. If you know that a variable of type object actually holds a question reference, you can cast question Q is equal to question obj. But first you must know that this obj is actually a question. It is actually a reference to a question. Like you are defining an object Q, which is of a question class, and you are giving it as a reference. So casting it as a question variable, they should then both be pointing to the same memory location, which has a object of type question. Now, this line will only work if obj is actually pointing to a memory location which holds a type of question. If that obj is pointing to a memory location which doesn't hold a question, but it holds a car, for example, car is another type of object, then what will happen? The obj refers to an object of an unrelated type, then a class cast exception is thrown, means an error will occur, an exception is thrown. Okay, so this will be wrong then. To check before doing the casting, you can perform this checking. That first check before casting, first check that if obj instance of question. Now instance of first takes the data type or the type of this object and checks it, compares it with obj, that whether they are of the same type, then it will do the casting, otherwise it will not do. So this is a best practice. Before casting, do that. Okay, there is an example that when an exception is thrown, since print stream actually doesn't have a toString method, so it's of different type. That's why this exception is thrown. Like here we are defining an object obj and we are giving it a hello value. And then we are printing system.out.println obj.length. Now first line is okay. because we can define any object. Uh, a string is a type of object, so we can obj can be pointing to a string. But if we want to do the second line will not compile because the object does not have a method length. Length is specifically defined for string, means length function is specifically used in the subclass of object class. So length method cannot be called with obj objects because object class doesn't has this method. Okay, so a parent class can refer to a type of object of a subclass, but if it try to call a method of the subclass, that's not possible. Okay, children classes can call the method of parent class, but parent classes cannot call the methods of child classes. So since hello is a string, so object obj can point to hello. But if you try to call obj.length, so this will not be allowed because obj can point to hello, but obj cannot use the length function because length function is specifically defined for string type of objects, and string is a child of object class. So length function is not applicable with object. Same problem here. Object obj is equal to who was the inventor of Java. This will be fine because this is a string and object obj can point to that. Question q is equal to question obj. Now question q cannot point obj. Why it will not point? Because if you are casting a question, then it must be a type of question. And obj is a pointer to a string, not a pointer to a question. So it will not be allowed. So this is a question that why don't we simply store all objects in variables of type object? Then we will not do it because only few methods are defined for type object. Then some base classes are extended from object class and further methods are defined for those classes. Then further classes and a hierarchy and tree of methods is generated. Okay, so at leaf level means the sub classes can call the methods of object type and its sub classes, but uh, if we only make objects which are of object type, then only a few methods will be called. Not all methods that are available in Java will not be able to use all that. So assume that X is an object reference. What is the value of X instance of object? The value is false if X is null and true otherwise. Means if X is pointing to a null value, then it will be false. If it is pointing to something, so something it might be an object, so it will return true. Okay, now the last important thing, that can every class be inherited? Answer is no. Not all classes can be inherited. Any class declared final cannot be inherited. If you define a class as final, you cannot inherit from it because you are fixing it that it cannot be inherited. Okay, now what you will do, you will download the employee class, implement equals method in employee class that return true if two employees have the same name. Okay, so you will define something inside it. Remember, you need to override object dot equals, and override has code method to be consistent with equals. Okay, guys, please, um, this is complete inheritance, and you will read it from the book. These are the books from where these inheritance concepts are taken. You already have these books available with you. So read it, and I will open the lab for this week. Uh, let me see. Okay, this week is actually week 4, but we have covered the contents of week 5. So I am opening assignment 1. It will be open till 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, you will submit it. In the third week, I will take the demonstration. And labs for week 4. It's about J unit. So first you have to cover the concepts of J unit, and then you will actually cover this lab. Okay. And I'm opening the quizzes, hybrid quizzes as well as quiz 1. So please do it after completing the readings. So first you must have clear what are the assertions and what does the assert equal method takes. Actually, assert equal method takes the output of one function because it is checking whether the function is creating the corrected output or not. So we actually compares the output of the expected value and the actual value. And if they both are the same, then it will return, it will be returned as success. If they are not same, then it will fail. Okay, so that's why we actually make mostly a test class with the name test, and then we define inside it, we call the assert method. So that assert method is defined in JUnit, and the video that I have posted, it has that how you can do that. Okay. So assert null, assert not null, you can check, assert true, you can check, assert false, you can check, assert same. These are different functions that can be there. And let me see whether the code files are there in lab 4 or not. The steps are given here that how to do that. Okay, so just follow, you will follow the same steps if that code is there. Your purchase test class must be there. Let me check whether this code is provided. This code is not provided, but in that video, there is some explanation that create a sum method and apply JUnit on that. So you can do that
Ma'am, there
instead
is
of
a
this
code
lab.
provided.
Here it is.
Uh,
Where it is?
yeah,
With the lab?
it's in part 2 J unit.
Okay. If it is there, then it's very easy for you. Okay.
Yeah, ma'am,
Just
please have
copy
a
it.
look there.
Yeah, I have opened it.
It's just
This is the code. Yes.
yeah,
Yes, you will use that code and then you will do the steps to
all the
check it.
steps are
That-
here mentioned.
Yes. So you will do that. Okay.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
follow that video for understanding the concept and then use this code and do the lab. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
So this is what you need to do for lab 4. Okay, guys. And so this is for today. You need to do lab 4 for JUnit. And lab 5 you will do next week, not today. Okay. But I'm opening assignment number 1 so that you can start understanding and thinking about that how to solve it. Whenever you get time, try to write the code for that. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
So now we will have a 15 minutes break. And after that, I will take the demonstrations for the other students who have not demonstrated last week, means last week's lab demonstration.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, and I'm opening the quiz also, quiz 1 as well as the hybrid quiz.
One general question, ma'am.
Yes.
Is it must to submit a Word document for our labs, or the demonstration is enough?
Actually, demonstration is for me to mark it, and submission is for the management. Okay. They needed a submission from the students on their
Okay.
portal. So they have a proof that you have actually demonstrated it to me. But it is also mentioned that without a submission, you even can't demonstrate. Means it is a must demonstration as well as the submission.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Because
Mm,
sometimes it
it is
happens that
compulsory to submit
one
in a Word
person has
file.
only submission but no demonstration, and some person have demonstration but no submission. And if sometimes means these are actually administration matters, that's why we need it. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am,
Yes.
is it compulsory to submit the screenshots in a Word file, or we can easily submit the screenshot like us?
You can just submit the screenshot after you have given the demonstration, then it will be fine. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank
Because
you.
it's the requirement that the code file should be provided as well as the screenshots of output should be there. It's a requirement. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Because if someone is checking what was going on in the class, not everyone is here. We are online completely. So if management wants to check that whether students are working or not, they can't every time come to the class to check who was working, who was not. So first step is that they check the student submissions. Okay. Then they ask the teacher afterwards. So that's why submission is the first step for management, but for the professor, it is compulsory to take the demonstration to check the understanding of
Okay,
students.
okay, ma'am.
Okay. So let me open the quiz. Okay, so quiz number 1, I am opening, and hybrid quiz number 1 and hybrid quiz number 2, I am also opening. Okay. So today I have opened 3 quizzes and assignment. Assignment, I think it is already available. Let me see whether it is inside. The document is available. Yes, it is available here. So all the instructions of the assignment is available. Hmm. Let me see if these files are available or not. Hmm. The assignment number 1 explanation is there, but the code files I have to find out. I think code files are also available with me. I have uploaded. And then you need to change in the code. Okay, guys, for the time, please concentrate on the quiz as well as the hybrid quiz and your lab 4. In the meantime, after the break, I will take the demo as well as I will upload if any files related to assignment 1 are required by you guys. Okay,
Ma'am, it's already uploaded on the portal.
it's uploaded on the portal, the zip
Yes,
files.
ma'am. Ma'am,
Okay,
assignment
if they are
files.
okay, that's great. It means that if it is available to you, I don't have to show it, then it's fine. Yeah. Okay, guys, so 15 minutes break. After that, I will take the demonstration of lab 3.